Yes, there's actually a time when you can no longer bring your dependents to the UK. Even though you are in the UK legally, you cannot bring your dependents. Now, you guys, let's cover that in this video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chinemerim. If you are stopping by for the first time, hello, you are most welcome. Please do what to like this video, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you are a returning subscriber, you are amazing. Thank you for coming back. And of course, you know that there are some speculations around dependent and dependent visa recently. And amidst these speculations, you should keep an eye and watch this video to the very, very end. I'm going to break this into bits. So I'll first of all talk about who can bring a dependent, who is a dependent, when you can bring a dependent, and when is the last time to bring your dependent. The first question is, who can bring a dependent? As a student, you can bring a dependent if you are on a program that lasts for more than 9 months if you are self-sponsored. And second, if you are on a program that lasts from 6 months and above if you are government sponsored. Some people that may know about this may ask about the doctorate extension scheme. Of course, you know that since the introduction of post-study work visa, the doctorate extension scheme was closed, but we'll get to that very soon. Previously, if you are on a doctorate extension scheme, which is mostly for PhD students, you can bring your dependents to the UK during your doctorate extension scheme. But that is closed now, so I will talk about that later in the video. For these people that I've just mentioned, your dependents can apply from inside or outside the UK, depending. They can apply either the same time as you or separately. Now we'll get on to who is a dependent. I've gotten questions. Can my uncle be my dependent? My auntie, my niece, I've lived with her for all her life. Can she be my dependent? Well, your uncle, your auntie, your niece, your nephew cannot be your dependent. Yes, you cannot also depend on your uncle, auntie, niece, or nephew. You can't depend on them. The only people that can be your dependent are your married civil partner. Your unmarried partner can also be your dependent, but you have to show proof that you've been in a relationship for a while, at least 2 years. You have to prove this as well. Your children under 18 years can also be your dependent, or they are also your dependents. But most universities would like you to come with your partner if you're coming with your kids. You know, some people will be like, let me move with my kids and then my partner can join us later, or the other way around. So most universities would prefer you to come together, like your partner should come with you with your kids to the UK at once if you're coming together. But then there may be some exceptions. You can give them some reasons why your partner may not be able to join you. You may just give them proof that your partner and yourself have made arrangements for childcare, especially if they are very young children. Also need to show them proof that your partner from outside the UK is financially capable of taking care of those children from outside the UK. And you know, you give them proof that those kids will not affect your studies because they are only after you being distracted because of childcare. Just talk to your university about it if you feel you need to discuss with them about it. In most cases, some universities won't even care. They won't ask you. Not that they don't care, but they may not ask you. They will just, give you admission and then let you come in. But during the immigration bit, you may also have to prove this to them. During the visa application and the biometrics, you may also have to prove this to them that you have made proper arrangements for those kids you are coming with if you are not coming with your husband. This is as a student. Your children over 18 years can also be your dependent if they are already in the UK with you. So if your kids are above 18 years and they are not in the UK, unfortunately, they may not be classified as your dependent. So this also applies to those coming on a work visa, maybe tier 2 or other work visas. These are also those that are classified as your dependents. So in some cases, some people may be like, okay, what if I have a child and he or she is above 18 years? So I can't bring him or her to the UK as my dependent. So yes, in most cases, you may not bring a child that is above 18 years as your dependent to the UK. That child may be classified as an adult. So you can't bring him or her to the UK as a dependent. Now, for those that may be saying, I've got my niece, my nephew, they've lived with me all their lives and all. If you want to bring that child to the UK as your dependent and they are below 18 years, you can just go through the process of normal adoption. Maybe you can adopt the child and show proof that you've adopted this child, and also show proof that you've lived with this child for all their lives, like you stated, and then they may be able to grant that child dependent visa based on you. You may be able to bring the child, that's your nephew or your niece, to the UK but there are some other routes you may use to bring them. But if it is for dependent, you may have to adopt that child to be legally yours before you can classify the child as your dependent. If you've met other criteria about who can bring a dependent and who is a dependent, you may now ask when you can bring a dependent to the UK. You can bring a dependent to the UK along with you when you are coming to the UK. So let's say you're applying for your own study or work visa. You can also apply for a dependent at the very same time as you are applying for yours. You can also bring a dependent at a later period. Let's say you don't have enough money at the time of your own application and you need to move to the UK maybe to study or to start working. You can at this point leave a dependent back home and move to the UK alone. So you can apply for a dependent the same time you're applying for yourself, and you can also apply for them separately on a later date. So when can you not bring your dependents to the UK? That's the main part of this video, when you cannot bring your dependents to the UK. So now, regardless of the new immigration rules and what will come up later, there is still no official statement on dependents or whether they will be stopped or reduced in number. Say, for instance, you have 20 dependents and you're thinking of bringing 20 of them at once. Well, at the moment, you can still bring your 20 dependents if you have 20. But in future, we don't know what will happen in future about your 20 dependents. But while we wait for them for an official statement or something official regarding that, we are hoping that by at least April next year, they should release something official regarding this topic. So, but while we are still waiting for them, I should also let you know that currently there is a time that you cannot bring dependents to the UK. So, for those on post study work visa, you may be thinking, okay, I should relax until my post study work period and I can bring my dependent. If a dependent was not in the UK with you when you were on a student visa, that dependent cannot come to the UK during your post study work visa. So this is number one. Whatever you're going to do to bring them to the UK during your student visa, you should do that to bring them. Because once you are done studying and you switch to post-study work visa, you can no longer bring your dependents to the UK. Two, you will no longer be able to bring a dependent to the UK if you only have about 3 months to the end of your visa. Because I've gotten these questions a lot. Let's say you're on a study visa and you are granted 1 year, 6 months on your study visa. And then you've gotten to 1 year, 3 months on that visa. You may not be able to bring your dependents to the UK anymore. That means throughout the remaining 3 months on your study visa, you cannot bring your dependents. And during your post study work visa, you can't also bring your dependents. So you only have about 1 year, 3 months to bring your dependents to the UK if you were granted a visa of 1 year, 6 months. I don't know if that makes sense. So if you're given a visa of 2 years to study, 2 years study visa, 2 years tier 4 visa, you have about 1 year, 9 months to bring your dependents to the UK. If after 1 year, 9 months you don't bring them, you may not be able to bring them to the UK again. So you have to bring your dependents to the UK at least 3 months before your visa expires. It is not 3 months to the end of your program, it is 3 months to the end of your visa period. And remember, since you can't bring them during post study work period, you can't bring them again until maybe you switch to a skilled worker visa. If not, they will not be able to come again. But your dependents who are already in the UK can switch to the post study work visa when you are switching to your post study work visa. But if you had a child during your post-study work period, that child can also be on a dependent visa if you want to apply for the child. But to be honest, I don't see any reason why you should apply for the child, because it's not like the child is going to travel or something like that, except the child is going to travel or you want to. But if not, you don't really have to get a dependent visa for the child. So yes, these are the rules regarding bringing dependents and when you can no longer bring a dependent to the UK. But just know that whatever you are hearing now about dependent visas cutting down and all, they are still rumors. Nothing official have been stated yet. But trust me to bring up a video when something official have been stated. And yes, I'll bring that on this channel. Now you guys, that's all about this video. Until I see you guys again in the next one, do take care, stay safe, and bye.